Grief and wonder, those are two opposite, kind of opposite.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe wonder is born out of grief. Yeah, I think grief is so manifold because it's so many things that we can grieve about. It could be grieving about ourselves, grieving about somebody we lost, grieving about somebody we loved, grieving about my dog, grieving for nature, grieving for earth, grieving. Oh, I just watched today, I don't know how that came up, and there was something about nuclear explosions. It somehow popped out on the web. I don't know how things pop up, and I was like, wow, that really makes me sad. All the atomic tests that were done in the past just blowing up the world. So that's really, I grieve for that. I grieve for the past. I grieve for things that seem to be in order and now they're not. Seems like nature is grieving itself. Maybe the earth is grieving and we're grieving with the earth. My dad left at the point where sort of was relatively young, in 69, could still do everything, and just thought, well, a pretty good way out at that age to just go and still not have to deal with dementia and all this aging and all these problems. So not so sad about that. I always wonder if he's still around. The loss happened when I found out he had cancer. That's when I started grieving, and I was so sad. But the death itself, no, because it was more the fact that he got really ill, and it was about, I know he was supposed, eventually going to die, but once he would die, that was almost a relief, because he was now finally free from this disease. And I just remember shaving his beard, and then he was just, you see the eyes go blank. And then I wasn't there, witness his death. I left because maybe a year before he told me, don't come to my funeral. And so I said, okay, I won't come to you for your funeral. And I did not, which was kind of felt strange, but since he said it, that's that. So a few years later, after he passed, I did this workshop with this person who claims to talk to dead people. And she said many things about my dad that she could not have known. There came this whole thing about, he's always nicely dressed in this khaki suit, and she just said that he loved to sail. He had sailboats, and she said that one thing that, he really regrets that he didn't take you on a nice sailing tour, around the Mediterranean, something like this. And that, the whole thing said, he's proud of me. Things like this came out in this conversation. So who knows? Maybe the departed spirits are still with us in some shape, form.